Hi, everybody, and welcome to TalentED. I'm the podcast where we dive deep into the world of education, leadership, and the power of talent. And I'm your host, Dr. Eric Skanson. Today, we're exploring resilience reimagined, inspiring educators, empowering leaders. And we have with us the incredible Tracy Fredrick Corcoran with us. Tracy is a beacon of positivity, empowerment, and transformative leadership. And I just love Tracy's energy. The first time we met in person, she's like, I'm a hugger. So hold on. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, let's hug. And we're gonna connect. And that's just the personality that she brings. So she's got a rich background in education from teaching to serving as superintendent, alongside being a Gallup certified strengths coach, CQ certified facilitator. Her mission is to revolutionize organizational culture through self-care and self-awareness, and I'm really excited for this today. So Tracy, it's an honor to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey. Like, who are you? Where are you talking to us from? Like, what's your story, Tracy?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Eric. It's so great to be here and share a little bit about where I've been, where I'm headed, and how I hope to support educators and leaders in this process. So, as you shared, my experience within education stems over multiple districts, multiple years, multiple positions, and starting way back as a kindergarten teacher. And I will tell you, if you want to learn anything about how to succeed in education, be a kindergarten teacher. They
Mm,
teach you everything that
I
you
sure
need to know.
do.
Yeah. So I'm super grateful to have had the opportunity to teach, to be an instructional coach, to be involved in curriculum work. As we know, that is ever changing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the opportunity to lead as director of teaching and learning during the pandemic. And I know we don't like talking about that, but Eric, honestly, that's how I got to where I am today, developing aware coaching and wellness, designing this resilience reimagined program to
Mm.
really support educators and educational leaders, because I was at burnout level and I had to step away for a myriad of reasons. And I know we're seeing educators and leaders experiencing that same thing. And so I'm really hoping that together we can really commit to reimagining the tools that our teachers need in their toolkits,
Mm.
that our educational leaders need in their toolkits, to really have that resilience to thrive in this really important work.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head in that COVID changed everything. Obviously, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that would argue against that. But we're also in this time of the school year where everybody is like, "Oh my gosh, we got a heavy load. We got to land the plane, and the runway is short, right?" And we tend to put that first instead of taking care of ourselves, and it makes it really hard, and it makes us question whether we can continue this pace. So I think this is really timely. Um, Tracy, your journey has been inspiring. What led to the creation of this idea of resilience reimagined, particular with its focus on educators and educational leaders?
Yeah. So the inspiration really stems from recognizing the immense challenges educators and leaders face. Our educational landscape is ever changing. We finally think we get something right, or, we feel confident in what we're doing. And now here's a new reality that we have to navigate. And so I just continued to see throughout my career this growing need to empower individuals with the tools and strategies to not only bounce back when we experience adversity, which I think is the definition we tend to rely on with resilience,
Bounce back.
but not bounce back. We really have to prepare for that adversity, those challenges. They're going to happen. It's the nature of the work we do. We're dealing
Mhm.
with little humans, we're dealing with families, we're dealing with communities, we're dealing with an infrastructure that is constantly changing and evolving. And we want that to be a positive experience. And so resilience is crucial, not only for personal well-being of our educators and our leaders, but also the success of our students
Hmm.
and the success of our educational system as a whole. And we know the narratives that are out there right now, but I continue to be a believer that education is the biggest vehicle for us to transform the world that we live in. And so, how do we really help those leaders and educators develop these tools to thrive?
We're so fortunate to have a public education system that really invests in everybody, right? And I
Absolutely.
love this idea that this is the place where we can make change. You talked about resilience is not just a bounce back. Let's go a little bit deeper on that. So, how do you personally define resilience, especially in this context of education?
Yeah, beautiful question. So, resilience in my mind involves the capacity to prepare for, recover from, and adapt in the face of
Mm.
stress, trauma, challenge, uncertainty. It's really about managing our mindset. And don't worry, I'm not about toxic positivity and the cat poster of just hang in
Hang
there.
in there.
It. We really need to have tangible in the moment strategies to be able to navigate our mindset and be able to become self aware as educators, as leaders, how we show up and what we experience permeates across our classrooms, across our
Hmm.
buildings, and across the system as a whole. So if we're not okay, if we're not aware of what we need, our battery's depleted, and that's
Hmm.
not going to serve our students, our families, and our community. So, in addition to that, I think we can also leverage our strengths and really become aware of what works for me? Where can I put myself in a position that I can thrive and use my strengths? I always joke with, yes, I love the positive. I'm a positive person, but I always joke with, I am not your party planner. So I
Hmm.
loved my colleagues who were all about, let's do a potluck, let's do this event, all of that. Great. Not my strength. It's definitely somebody else's, which
Hmm.
really creates that culture of resilience, community, and it really allows us, like I said, to not only just overcome the challenges we face, but really prepare for in a proactive way. Because if we're not proactive and we don't have the inner strength prior to encountering those tough situations, that's where we're seeing our
Hmm.
educational leaders and our educators burn out at a rate that we have never seen before. So I really
Hmm.
hope to be able to fill those tools, to provide those strategies, to again really develop mindsets of we can do this, to wrap around one another and transform education to be the powerhouse that it is meant to be.
I mean, if I can reiterate what I'm hearing, it is make sure you have colleagues who can create a hot dish that can change your culture. And for those of you that are not watching, not from the Midwest, I'm going to give you a couple hot tips here. The number one hot dish that you need to look up and take care of is tater tot hot dish,
Yes, tater
right?
tot hot dish.
It is a comfort
Yes.
food. It'll bridge you from one crisis to another. Eat more tater tot hot dish.
Yes. And truly, do not underestimate the power of food. And if it's
Hmm.
not tater tot hot dish, make sure there's chocolate available.
Chocolate.
Yeah,
That is the dynamic duo of school culture. Hot
there you
dish,
go.
chocolate. In all seriousness, I think you hit on some really great points there, is that we have to be proactive in making sure our buckets are full so that inevitably we're either heading into a crisis or coming out of a crisis, right? That's the reality
100%.
of it. So how do we make sure that as we're coming out of a crisis, that we take time to rebuild ourselves so that when we get into the next one, we are full, we are recharged, and we have our people with us,
Yeah,
preferably those that
beautiful.
make
Well,
tater tot hot dish. Um, the challenges that we're facing today are immense. Can you maybe shed a light on some specific challenges that necessitate this reimagined approach to resilience? Because again, I love the fact that you're like, it's not about, I don't want to say it's not about grit, but a little bit. It's like it's more than just a bounce back. Like
yeah,
you need
100.
more. So like what are the
Yeah.
scenarios that are getting in the way?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's be real. We're going to talk about it because we have students experience behavioral needs that are beyond anything I was prepared for in my
Mhm.
undergraduate and even post-secondary work at high graduate level, learning. So we have student needs that are happening. We have academic pressures. We have our societal expectations, in addition to legislative demands. I
Mhm.
mean,
That's a
the
lot of getting
input
flanked.
Heck yeah, the input coming from so many different directions, you never really know what you're walking into. And so we know that these challenges are leading to burnout, decreased job satisfaction, and actually Gallup did a survey in 2022. So this is post-pandemic information or survey, and 44% of our K-12 educators are reporting they're feeling burnt out very often or always.
Mm.
In all of the other workforces, it's 30%. That
So tired.
14% gap is real. And we have to reimagine resilience because we have to understand the complexities. Like I said, I'm not someone who's going to come in and be like, just work harder and be positive. Like, I really want to throw things when people do that. And I know it comes from a good place, but here's
Mhm.
the deal. There are research-based, science-backed tools that can actually transform our baseline as humans. So this work in developing resilience is really about neurology. It's
Mm.
about understanding our self-awareness, understanding ourselves. And then we're able to really unpack resilience at the individual level, at the team level, and we're able to look at it as at the systemic level.
I mean, so how do you see this reimagined resilience affecting individual educators and the broader education system?
Yeah, I think truly it can transform and get us back to that place where we look forward to coming to work. It's not just a job anymore. We get to bring passion back. We get to bring
Mm.
joy back. We get to see that in our students too, because if we're enjoying what we're doing, our students are going to enjoy what they're doing. And as we think about that overall school culture, instead of the hustle and bustle of this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen, we get to come into this work just from a different frame of mind. And that is the magic and the beauty of what can happen. So I'll be honest, I was the leader. I was the let's do more, let's do more, let's do more, run, 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 run. Well, guess what happened? I basically ran myself into the ground and no longer had anything to give my family, let alone my friends. And showing up at work, I was not my best self. And so when we really think about how this approach can shift, it starts at the individual level. We have to make a commitment to ourselves. And then when we have those tools in our toolkit and we're practicing and we're learning to better manage our stress, it's going to be there. I'm not saying I'm going to create a stress-free school or classroom. That's
Mhm.
not real. And we can manage that stress differently. We can create work life balance. We can cultivate those positive relationships with one another, with our students, with families, within our community. And so, collectively, moving from the individual level to the team level, to the school community, to the full district community, that resilient workforce, that's just going to
Mm.
shift our school culture. It's going to be healthier. We're going to have improved student outcomes. We're going to increase our retention rates of our teachers because we know we're seeing it. We're all posting jobs for
That's
next
right.
year, and we're like, okay, fingers crossed, we get a warm body to come. And the thing is, we all want the best and the brightest in this work, and we need the best and the brightest in this work. And so we know creating this resilient educational system, it can also adapt quickly.
Mm.
We know there's going to be external challenges. We know we're going to need to continue to innovate. We know we have changing needs, but I'm going to tell you, if we can build this resilience within our individuals, within the teams and the organizations that are doing this important work, it's ultimately going to lead us to a brighter future for everyone involved.
Everyone. As I hear you talk, it's almost reversing the formula that's happening right now, right? So we have administrators with tons of pressure, getting flanked from every side, who who are unhappy, and that passes on to the teachers. The teachers get more work because there's less people in there. So they have to do more. They're less happy. That passes on to the students. The students go home. They're less happy. Talk to parents who become irate that they're not getting the experience that they want. Who do they go to? The board, the superintendent, and that cycle just continues over and over. So if we're going to break the system and try and do this differently, we have to reverse all of that, right? We need happiness to pass, not crabbiness to pass. Yeah,
Yes.
super
Yes.
fun. Uh,
Yeah.
your work spans like a vast array of roles and experiences. How have your roles as an educator, leader, coach influenced your perspective on resilience and its importance?
Yeah, that's a
Excuse me.
great question. So, like I said, way back working with those beautiful little 5 and 6-year-olds, I had to show up every day as the best version of myself. If not, they were going to run all over me because
Hmm.
that's just who they were developmentally. And so, not only did that initial experience really help me realize the tools I needed in my toolkit, then I became a mom. And then I had to balance
Hmm.
the demands of being an educator with being a mom at home, showing up as a partner, all of that. And I know so many of our educators and leaders navigate that. Like I come home and I'm just depleted and my family gets nothing out of me.
Hmm.
And so, how do we really find that balance? And so, I learned different ways in which I had to balance work and life. There are days I would actually leave my computer at school. I know it's a crazy idea, Eric. How
Hmm.
many people do and actually leave it at the office in the classroom and say, I'm not bringing the bag, just hauling it back and forth, even though I may or may not actually open it. I
Right?
have it. It's like a security
It
blanket.
feels good.
Yeah. So I think just really starting to practice some of those things myself. And then I had a beautiful opportunity post pandemic to start my yoga teacher training. And
Mm.
while this work is not about let's go, do yoga together and meditate and the Zen practices that yoga can provide, that is a mindset and a state of being that has transformed and shifted the way I do business. And so that started coming into my leadership
Mm.
of can we just take a moment in this meeting and just pause? How many people pause today? And so inviting those practices into my leadership and also recognizing with me and having people around me who would recognize like, hey, Tracy, when's the last time you went to the bathroom?
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The little things that really compound into the big things. And so
Right.
I think over the course of my career, resilience has been a big part of what I've just done. But then having to walk away, having to invest in myself and really do some reflection and learning, I have gained so many tools that I wish I would have had
Mm.
when I
Yeah.
was in those positions as a teacher, as a coach, as a director, and really thinking about, man, I would have done things differently had I known X, Y, and Z. And so
Hmm.
that's really my hope to bring in is really about sharing these valuable resources. So together we can really navigate the complexities of everyone's role in
Mm.
today's educational system.
Well, let's shift a little bit because part of resilience is taking care of yourself, right? You talked about leaving the computer at home, not checking email, things like that. So when you're not empowering educators or leaders, how do you enjoy spending your free time?
Yeah, I love to travel. I have had amazing opportunities to go explore the world at large. It's really been super cup filling. And the beauty is my work allows me to travel, but then
Mm.
I still travel for fun as well. And I think within that, you start to really recognize the common humanity that exists in all of us. So the issues that educators in Texas are dealing with are the same as
Hmm.
those of us in Minnesota are dealing with are the same as those in California and out east. But again, traveling fills my cup in a way that it really has been a priority in my life. I was the one who used my vacation days to all the educational leaders who do not. Stop it.
Stop it. Use them.
Stop
Take care
it.
of
Use
yourself.
them. Big world out there.
Hmm.
So yeah, in addition to that, I have two wonderful kids who keep me busy. One is a baseball player, one is a dancer, and so, I'm constantly enjoying the mom world in both of those regards, spending time at the baseball field, enjoying the shows on stage with when my daughter is dancing, and then just enjoying them in general. We do all kinds of fun stuff together, and never underestimate the power of spending time with your kids. My
Hmm.
son is now a freshman in college, and it is fascinating how fast that
It
time
does go
truly goes.
fast. That's amazing
Yeah.
that you brought that up because that's a perfect transition to my next question. I wanted to ask you, can you share a memorable moment or lesson you've learned from your children that has impacted your professional philosophy?
Ooh, yeah. So my kids have really taught me, stop taking yourself so seriously.
Nice.
So I think I have always really taken so much pride in my work, and it has been a very big piece of my identity. It has created a life that I've absolutely loved, and my kids kept me humble that I'm more than my job.
Mm,
And I don't really need to take myself so seriously all the time, that life should be fun, life should be
hmm.
fulfilling. You should be able to find joy in the little things, whether that's at work, at home, with whomever you choose to spend your time with. And so I think that's truly that shift of, okay, I have to, and it's that constant to-do list and the hustle and bustle of the reality of our work. And my kids are like, yeah, but have fun. It doesn't need to be so serious.
Hmm.
There's gonna be more work tomorrow.
There's plenty of
And I
work.
think really really to being able to embody that belief, and let's have fun at school. Learning should be fun.
Hmm. Should be a fun environment.
Spending time
How
with
lucky we
kids
are,
should be fun.
right? How lucky we are to
Absolutely.
live in this
Absolutely.
environment and work in this
Yes.
environment. Excuse me. Um, So I'm a pretty big Marvel fan, like superheroes, Star Wars. I'm kind of a geek like that. So I always like to ask this
Love it.
question. Um, if you could have a superpower that helped in your mission, what would it be? And why?
Ooh. Man, Wonder Woman in the back of my head, and I'm just sitting here thinking like just healing. Just if I had the power to
Mm,
heal the hurt, to heal the trauma, to heal the pain that people are experiencing, that I don't want them to feel that way anymore. I
hmm.
want them to be able to have pride, to find joy and happiness and really lead fulfilling lives. So, man, if I could take all that hurt away with a magic superpower, I'm
Oh,
in.
that would be
Happy to do it.
beautiful. Last call to action, Tracy. Before we wrap up, do you have any upcoming projects, events, or messages you'd like to share with everybody? Or maybe even a
Yeah.
challenge? Like what's your last call to
Oh,
action here?
yeah. I think the piece I want to leave people with, because I want this work to be in the moment, eyes wide open. I challenge you to take a mindful moment every day.
Mm.
1 minute. Just 1 minute in which you pause, just take a moment to breathe. If breathing's not your thing, we should talk, but that's okay. Pay attention to what's around you. Do you notice something new when you just pause for a moment, scan your environment, reflect, and just take that 1 minute gift for yourself to just pause? That's
Beautiful.
it.
Beautiful. That's going to bring us to the end of another enriching episode of TalentED. A huge thank you to Tracy for joining us today and sharing invaluable insights on resilience reimagined, right? It's not about the bounce back. That's going to stick with me. Remember that the journey to empowering educators and leaders begins just with a single step, a single breath, a single moment, right? And Tracy has shown us how resilience can be that foundation. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you're interested in booking Tracy or any of our other talented speakers for your next event, connect with us at School Pro. And as always, stay PKS, which is positive, kind, and supportive. See you in the next episode, everybody. Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks, Eric.